Hey guys, first regardsman here, and so I'll be talking about a Combi Melta gun build for the tactical class in Space Marine 2 patch 10.0. Now the Combi Melta is the heroic version of the bolt rifle. Basically you have an undermounted Melta gun, pretty similar to the grenade launcher, and you have a separate ammo capacity for this. This thing is not the strongest weapon ever, but it's still totally usable and pretty fun, and it'll probably get buffed as well. Now for the perk tree on the Combi Melta gun, I do pick up mostly headshot perks because the underbarrel function of the Melta gun here is just not that good for damage overall. It is far better for the utility on Stagger and Minora Slaughter, which it does pretty well even with perks like Tactical Precision, which is why I just prefer building it this way. Now, the perk I take first here is Headhunter. Headshots that deal 10% more damage, and then I pick up the perk here, Adamant Hunter. When health is below 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. This one does trigger occasionally and gives you a huge buff in DPS. Then we pick up the perk here, Fast Reload, moving over here into the perk Able Reload, and then I grab the perk over here, Recoupment. Killing a resource level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores one armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, armor restores in Space Marine 2 are valuable wherever you can find them, and sometimes you do need to just like shoot a guy that's in execute stance like a mile away from you. This will help a ton with that to give you some armor back and save you from chip damage, especially on tactical. It's not that tanky overall. And then the perk I take after this is Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage. Non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. This perk will negatively impact the damage of your Melta rifle portion, but honestly the headshot damage buff here is just worth more to us. And this gun actually has a ton of magazine capacity and pretty good ammo economy, so it's pretty good for that overall, and this makes its DPS go up quite a bit. Next perk here is Great Might, and then I pick up the perk down here, Increased Capacity, for a 20% increase to our ammo reserves, because this perk does affect the maximum ammo capacity of our Melta portion of this gun. It will take us like 13 shots total in this build. Pretty good for that, which is why I like to pick it up here. Then I grab the perk over here, Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. Now, this description is actually wrong. This can go up to like 35% HP, and considering we have a Melta gun attached to this thing, getting back our HP with this perk is very easy compared to a standard bolt rifle. It's a really good synergy here for sure. And the next perk I take here is Headhunter, just for that extra headshot damage buff, and the final perk I take is Extended Magazine, because we can fire our gun for quite a long time. And that's pretty much all there is for the Combi Melta portion of this build. Now, Combi Melta is literally just a grenade launcher with a Melta instead. Pretty fun to use, and honestly guys, this one will likely get buffed, so if you feel like it's underperforming for whatever reason, don't feel too bad, because like buffs are surely on the way. Now for the secondary weapon selection, you do have a few options here. All of these are pretty good now, especially the heroic bolt pistol here. Now I am playing in like an offline mod where I can have all the heroic weapons here, which is why I have both of these, but if you do happen to pick this up on like Monday when it's actually available in game, the heroic bolt pistol is very strong for headshot damage, amazing CHP recovery, really good gun strike damage, and overall I think this gun is actually just exceptional, especially with perks here like Elite Hunter for 50% more headshot damage after killing a resource level or higher enemy with a melee weapon. You really feel the buff on this gun, and honestly I think this gun competes pretty well with the rate of fire plasma and the heavy bolt pistol, so great option for sure. Now if you don't have access to this one, you can just take the rate of fire plasma pistol, because this thing is still one of the best guns in the entire game. Stupidly high CHP recovery, stupidly high stagger, and great damage overall, especially with perks like Plasma Boost on the tactical. And for the perk tree here, I would just build ammo economy all the way on top of things like Perpetual Velocity and pick up 10% more damage with Divine Might. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary weapon selection. Now for the melee weapon selection, I do take the newly buffed Block Chainsword in patch 10.0. This thing does have 3 speed now, a very strong option. It was already pretty damn strong before, but now the incredible power of the block weapon has increased speed, and with battle focus, you can almost one combo lictors and things like that. Super valuable for that reason, which is why I like this weapon a lot. It also grants you armor restore off of adrenaline surge charges and things like that, where otherwise the tactical does not have a ton. Now for the perk tree, I just build it pretty standard. I just take all like the melee damage perks here, skip over perks like Saw Blade because the attack speed is still not incredibly fast on this, and then I pick up the perk Full Throttle for the combo skip, though the combo skip got nerfed a little bit in this patch just because it has like an animation delay, but it's still pretty damn good if you're just trying to like do one bash. And the final perks I pick up are my Minora Slayer and the perk Extremis Slayer. And if you are like somebody that wants to use the heroic version of this weapon at some point here, this one sucks ass. I would not waste your points on it, and the Block Chainsword is just far better. Now for the perk tree selection, I do take Crack and Penetrator rounds first. Bolt weapons penetrate one more enemy. Now I'll be honest, I don't think this perk is very good at all, but unfortunately I am using the heroic bolt pistol in the gameplay I'll show, so I don't want to lose 10% damage on this with things like balance distribution, and plasma boost does literally nothing for me, so it's like basically the only option. Next option after this is Heightened Vigor. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gunstrike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Now, this perk is top tier, 10% more melee damage is incredible on top of no knockback, and when we combine this with things like Battle Focus on top of the block Chainsword Adrenaline Surge charges, we will one-shot Majoris and damn near one-shot every Extremis, so really strong for that. Now, the next perk I take after Heightened Vigor is the perk Steady Aim. Weapon spread and recoil are reduced by 20%, and range damage against Terminus level enemies is increased by 15%. So you may be wondering why I'm taking a perk like Steady Aim and not Emperor's Vengeance. Well, the thing is that Emperor's Vengeance does not restore the ammo on your Melta portion of the Combi Melta whatsoever. It's either bugged or like just an intentional change. Either way, the standard bolt rifle is not very ammo inefficient, so you don't get a ton of benefit out of this, and the weapon spread and recoil reduction for a normal bolt rifle is actually pretty damn useful because this thing has a stupid bloom at times, and also the 15% increased Terminus damage is quite good as well. Next perk I take is Secure Stockpile because getting Melta Bombs, Frag Grenades, Shock Grenades, and Crack Grenades on a 60-second cooldown for your whole team is simply busted. Probably the best perk in the entire game. Completely carries Siege Mode and Operations. Pretty much always pick this up if you're going for like a full meta build. And if you don't like this, you could take Aligned Aim because this is good, but obviously Secure Stockpile is better. Now, the next perk I take after this is the perk Vital Data. Scanning Extremis or Terminus level enemy restores Auspex scans charged by 50%. This just gives you more Auspexes when you need them, especially versus the boss spawns, and boss spawns and absolute operations are the hardest part of it, so really strong perk for sure. Next perk here is Battle Focus. A perfectly timed parry or block gives the parried enemy a mark from Auspex scan. Now, this perk did get nerfed a while back. It used to apply all Auspex buffs like Concentrate Fire to the Auspex scan from this parry. It no longer does this. It is now just a base Auspex scan, but still very powerful. Really good synergy with things like Heightened Vigor and our block Chainsword, so super good here. Alternatively, though, if you don't want to use this, you could take Precise Calibration for 75% more damage on your Auspex scan with a 25% reduced radius, because this perk combined with Concentrate Fire does stupid amounts of damage to bosses, amazing for nuking them down, and also like the best boss nuking in the game comes from these two perks combined. That's really up to you. Now, the final perk I pick here is the signature perk Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area of effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is just incredible, positively carries horde encounters at times. You can properly set this up off your execute because basically the explosion from this will occur wherever you hit the execute button. So if you run up to a bunch of guys and there's like one red dude and you position yourself around a spot where like they're all around you, if you hit the E button or like whatever it is on your controller to execute the guy and you're just standing near them, you will just run over to the execute in front of you, but your detonation will be at the spot you hit the button initially. So pretty easy to set it up with that. I'll show that in the gameplay a bit, but this perk does significant damage to Majoris, Extremis, and even Terminus. Super powerful, even with a 90-second cooldown, and if you don't want to waste the charge of this, you can also just one-shot a executable guy instead of like doing a full execute by attacking them once with a melee attack, and any melee attack on a red enemy or like an execute enemy will set up a gunstrike option on them, so you can save your charge here if you want to do that. Now, for the prestige perks here, I do take Acuity. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%. The bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. This perk is really good with pretty much every single bolt gun in the game, especially for our 3-round heroic bolt pistol that has really good DPS already. I like this perk a lot, great synergy, and I'm honestly kind of in love with the new heroic bolt pistol, so super fun here. Next perk I take is Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This gives us more Melta rounds in our Combi Melta, on top of making our bolt pistol more ammo efficient, because this thing's ammo efficiency is by no means bad, but it's not amazing, and this does help with that. And the next perk I take after this is the perk Resilience. Medicase Sims restore 40% more health. The tactical class is quite squishy in this game. This one actually makes your Sims way more valuable, can save your life at times for sure. Great perk. I love this one pretty much all the time. And the final perk I pick up is Fortitude. Health increases by meta, and this one gives you tank ability, or is tank ability even a word? It gives you tankiness that you would otherwise not have, especially on the tactical, so great for that. And I actually love this perk pretty much in whatever class I can pick it up on. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Combi Melta is a ton of fun. The Heroic Bolt Pistol is a ton of fun. If you haven't haven't picked these weapons up yet, there will be more stratagems coming out on Monday for the weekly stuff. I do help people run weekly challenges or the weekly hard stratagems in my streams at times. You want to pop in there and ask around if we're doing them at the time, and hopefully you guys like this build guide and it helped you out a bit. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, hey guys, so I'll be talking about a heroic Chainsword build for the Bulwark class in patch 10.2 Space Marine 2. Now this Chainsword got a major buff in the hotfix yesterday. It now has a 4+ speed, and the perk effect here, Fist Fight, got buffed as well, and now reads you can perform an additional heavy attack after a quick punch. Also a front kick is replaced with a quick punch, and all heavy attacks deal 15% more damage. So basically, you can chain a punch into a bash on top of chaining a light attack into a punch into a stomp. So a very valuable perk for sure, and this heavy attack damage increase is also pretty amazing. You can pretty much get full benefit out of perks like Swift Recovery for that 100% more contested HP recovery on the Quick Punch, Front Kick, Shoulder Bash, and Stomp, because really, this thing just spams heavy attacks, and on top of all of that, the Bulwark has the perk over here, Overcharge, and unlike the Assault, which is currently bugged to not work with anything except the Hammer, this one works with things like the Bash, the Stomp, on top of stuff like the Power Rake on the Power Sword. Really powerful option, and honestly, this is why the Bulwark is one of the best classes in the game for any melee weapon, because he just overperforms at all times. Now, for the perk tree on this thing, I would pick up Perpetual Strength first, moving here into the Swift Recovery perk for the reasons I mentioned before, and then we pick up a flat 10% melee damage buff with these two perks, and move over here into the perk Reverberating Impact. Stomp area effect radius increases by 50%. Since this weapon can get out stomps faster, just like a full throttle skip, very useful for us, then I pick up the perk over here, Combined Onslaught, and pick up the perk here, Heavy Onslaught, for even more heavy attack damage, and the final perks I grab are Minora's Slayer, Extremis Slayer, and Momentum Gain. Now, Momentum Gain does pretty much nothing for us, though there aren't really any other perks we can take here, because currently the perk up here, Trampling Stride, after performing a stomp, hold the attack button to perform an additional stomp, is broken on this weapon, but this is a known bug, and Saber is working to fix this, so just keep that in mind. And Full Throttle doesn't really do anything for us, because we're kind of just chaining into heavies anyways, and like usually this is used for a combo skip, but on this build, it doesn't really do anything, so pretty much skip this one. And that's pretty much all there is for the weapon perk tree on the Chainsword here. Now for the secondary here, I do just take the Rate of Fire Plasma Pistol once again. Ever since patch 9.0, they buffed the Rate of Fire on this thing, and now it charges up stupidly fast. Amazing CHP recovery, amazing stagger, great damage. The only thing that kind of sucks is ammo economy, but to be honest, in operations, especially with a good team, you don't really need that much ammo on this class anyways, so it's very, very good regardless. And also, you can just build for ammo on the top tree here and just pick up things like Divine Might and even further ammo reserves that can really help you out with your ammo economy. And to be honest, this weapon might be a little OP right now, so if you don't want to take this, you could take a heavy bolt pistol or a heroic bolt pistol instead. I do think those are the two best secondary options outside of this one, and that's pretty much all there is to say about these secondary here. Now for the Bulwark perk tree here, I do build for maximum damage with things like Forward Momentum. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 30% for 10 seconds. You can trigger this perk and the perk over here simultaneously for a 45% melee damage buff on top of 10 seconds of no knockback. Really powerful combo, and Shield Rush made it very easy to just trigger these over and over while fighting in combat and engaging. So great perk effects for sure, though to be honest, every single perk in this first row, like Intimidating Aura and Conviction, is top tier as well. The Bulwark is pretty blessed with good perks in this part for sure. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 25% less damage from range attacks. Range damage reduction in this game also affects your armor, and we are running things like Focus Restoration here, so great perk effect, and these two perk effects are not very good at all. Next perk after this is Seal Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. Having some type of health damage reduction on the Bulwark really helps your survivability, because you do have a 30% increased starting HP, so you get extra benefit out of health damage reduction that's percentage based, so really strong effects for sure. But if you want to take something like Armor Reinforcement, you can do that as well. It's up to you. I just prefer to have this perk instead. Next perk here is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all squad members automatically restore 1 armor segment. This is the main form of armor regen on our build here, and honestly an amazing perk with amazing value in general. They did buff this from like 40 seconds to 30 seconds a while back, and is significantly better now, but to be honest, armor restores in this game are top tier regardless, so great perk for sure. Though if you don't want to take this, you could take Advanced Conditioning. That is up to you. Next perk is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies in this area of effect. This simply makes your banner an AoE shock grenade. Things like Minora's just die like almost instantaneously. Things like Majora's, Extremis, and Terminus take significant damage. Really good for just getting some extra value out of your banner, and the banner is not super amazing without this beyond defense, so great value for sure. And some people do enjoy the perk down here, Focus Strength. I never really noticed this perk doing much of anything because the Shield Rush now has guaranteed stagger anyways, and this one's quite redundant, and Purity of Purpose I think is just significantly better. Next perk I take here is Concussive Force. A Shield Bash deals 200% more damage, and our Shield Rush deals 100% more damage. You also get some benefit for the Thunder Hammer, but that does not really matter at all for this build. I will say that Shield Rush does benefit from Overcharge as well, and this perk is multiplicative, while these two perks are additive. So a very powerful option for this build, and honestly, Concussive Force in general is so strong this patch because of the Shield Rush that sometimes I don't like to take it because it does kind of just turn you into a Shield Bash machine rather than like actually using your weapon. But that's really up to you whether or not you want to do this. You could take Glory's Shield or Invigorating Icon instead, but this perk is very strong. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%. You do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. Getting no knockback for 10 seconds off of a Shield Rush is so strong in this game. Such an easy perk to trigger that like now you really don't need perks like the Armored Advance down here. If you have armor remaining, you don't lose control upon taking heavy hits and cannot be knocked back. This one is super redundant these days. I think this one is just significantly better for pretty much any build with a shield at all. I pretty much always pick this up. And the perk I take for Cincture instead is Defensive Mastery. A perfect time parry or block instantly incapacitates a Majora's or Extremis level enemy. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is okay. There are times that you'll just one-shot an Extremis. That's very, very useful, so good for that. If you want to take some like emergency countermeasures instead, though, you definitely can. And I will mention that if you do get the trigger of this on top of an Intimidating Aura trigger, you will simply one-shot the guy that you were parrying, and that can make it so you lose an Execute and lose HP, so just keep that in mind. And for the prestige perks here, I do skip over Auxiliary Reload for this build because in operations and stratagems, I really don't think you need this perk that much, especially in teams, because you aren't running out of ammo a ton in operations anyways. Ammo is pretty easy to come by, and there's nothing like requisition points to lose points on, so I would just kind of skip over this. Next perk here is Resilience. Medicae Sims restore 40% more health. Getting more health from Sims in this game just makes it so your Sims are more valuable, so pretty strong perk here. Overcharge is the next perk for all the reasons I mentioned previously, and the final two perks are Powerful Shot for a flat 20% range damage increase, and Masterful Defense for 1% CDR for every blocked range attack, which is by far the best perk in this entire tree besides Overcharge, because this one simply gives you back full banners on things like Soul Reaper Terminator cannons, and it's a very strong option in general. And CDR in pretty much any game that has a powerful ability effect is pretty top tier. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Chainsword is pretty damn fun. Being able to punch a Carnifex in the face over and over is kind of hilarious, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it is, and I think it does function best on things like Assault and Bulwark, because Bulwark has the Overcharge perk and a 19 base strength. Does help with the ground pound on Assault, and this one's actually a pretty good choice if you want to pick it up. With the heroic weapon buffs in the comments section below, and which heroic weapon you chose first, because the heroic weapons have gotten progressively better since they got initially launched, and there are more coming on the way, so we'll see how it goes in the future of Space Marine. Hey guys, first regards from here, and so I'll be talking about a Power Gladius combat knife build for the Vanguard class in patch 10.1 of Space Marine 2. Now, the Power Gladius is a new heroic tier variant of the combat knife. This thing has a specialized perk here with Agile Strike. After a perfect dodge, the next light strike deals 120% more damage, can be stacked up to 3 times. Now, the description here is actually incorrect. This can be used on any attack whatsoever with the buff, not just light strikes. They'll be updating that one day, but for now it is incorrect, which is kind of unfortunate. Now, before I actually move on into the overall perk tree, I do want to say that I think this is the second best knife in the game currently, behind the block knife, and is strictly better than the balanced knife here in the relic tier, because 4 more cleaving potential really doesn't matter at all, and the bonus perk effect from this is just like the go-to for balance in my opinion. Now, for the perk tree, I do take Perpetual Strength first. Melee damage increases by 5%. Moving here into the perk Kinetic Energy, each consecutive heavy attack increases heavy attack melee damage by 3% up to 30% for 3 seconds. This is a very powerful perk, and heavy attacks on the knife are quite good, so I really do like to pick this one up. Next perk I take here is Perpetual Strength. The melee damage increases by 5%. Moving over here into the perk Heavy Onslaught, heavy attacks with this melee weapon deal 15% more melee damage, just a free melee damage buff here to our heavy attacks. And the final perks I grab here are things like Shadow Stab, and the perk here is Shoulder Bash. Replace Distance Stab with Shoulder Bash while evading/sprinting. Tap the attack button to quickly perform an area effect forward attack. Now, this basically replaces your lunge attack, which is way better in my opinion. The shoulder bash comes out a lot faster, is a lot less locking in animations, and overall, I pretty much always grab this perk for that reason, because otherwise you can get trapped pretty easily. And the final perk I grab here is Extremis Slayer, because, bonus Extremis damage I find more valuable than Terminus, because you fight more Extremis than Terminus. But if you want to take this one, you definitely can. Now, for the primary and secondary weapon here, I do take a Melta Rifle and Heavy Bolt Pistol. The Melta Rifle got buffed in patch 9.0 for its range variant. The damage fall off on this is significantly better and is by far my preferred version of this gun, and the perk tree here has a lot of valuable perks, especially for this build. First off, we have Decisive Reload. Performing a finisher on a Majoris level or higher enemy of this weapon restores ammo by 1. This is an amazing ammo economy perk, and the Vanguard does struggle with ammo. This helps a ton. Next perk I take here is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores health by 10%. This perk is super valuable on the Melta Rifle because it is very easy to trigger, and on this build in particular, this is an amazing perk because we will be sitting below 50% HP for most of the game to trigger our perk here, Hone Reactions. When your health is less than 50%, your perfect dodge window is doubled. Now, usually this perk is pretty trash if you're taking perks like Unmasked Zeal or Adrenaline Rush because you will constantly overheal the 50% here and not get a ton of value out of this, but on this build, we'll be taking Inner Fire and Tactical Prowess, so our main healing is going to be coming from the Melta Rifle here with this Rapid Health perk, and staying at below like 35% HP or 50% HP on this build is really not that bad at all, because we will have perks like Thrill of the Fight and Conviction for a total of 45% HP damage reduction, which is very substantial on top of getting so many more armor procs off of stuff like Launch Restoration, and the perk here Restoration on top of perks like Trick Shot. Killing 5 enemies with 1 shot restores 1 armor segment. Cooldown is 30 seconds. If you proc this on 7 enemies, you'll get 2 armor back from this proc on top of things like a restoration proc. So pretty powerful to get your armor back. And even if you run out of the armor from your gun, you'll get it back on your grapnel, which you will have more of because you have Inner Fire and Tactical Prowess. So pretty great combos across the board here. We'll get more into the perk tree in a second. But as far as the rest of the Melta Rifle perks go, I would just grab the top tree because this is pretty much just damage and fire rate. Nothing like really amazing here. Like most of the best perks are at the bottom row here, but this is still pretty useful. Now for the secondary weapon here, I do take the Heavy Bolt Pistol like I mentioned before. I take the Ammo Reserve option. Ammo economy is not too bad, the Heavy Bolt Pistol on a Vanguard class, but the Melta Rifle with the range variant is not as ammo efficient as you might want, so having this extra ammo for your secondary can definitely help. And the Heavy Bolt Pistol also has the highest gun strike damage in the game, so it's a great option for this class, because, or at least this build, because this build will be gun striking all the time off of a balanced combat knife on top of Hone Reactions perfect dodge window increases, so you get a ton of extra gun strikes out of this, and this one definitely helps with that. Now for the perk tree, I just go down the bottom row here, mainly for perks like Able Damage. After using a class ability, damage increases by 20% for 10 seconds. We are a Vanguard with a Grapnel and Inner Fire, so we'll be using our Grapnel all the time and triggering this constantly. Super powerful perk effect that you should keep your gun equipped to make sure it triggers. Next perk I take after this that's important is Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage. Non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. A super valuable perk because pretty much only headshots are valuable on the Heavy Bolt Pistol to begin with, and that's why I pretty much always pick this up. Now for the Vanguard perk tree, I do take Upper Hand first. After a perfectly timed parry, block, or dodge, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk will simply save your life. One of the biggest ways to die in Space Marine 2 is getting stun locked, and this does help that a bit. It does not cover every single attack, so things like Zone Throw Beams and Carnifex Slaps will still knock you over, but things like light attacks from Raveners, Sword Warriors, and Zone Throw Balls will not, so a really good perk here for sure. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This is an incredibly powerful perk. Health damage reduction in this game is very strong, and we combine this with the perk over here, Thrill of the Fight. After a perfect time parry, block, or dodge, you take 20% less health damage for 5 seconds. You will have a 45% health damage reduction at times, which is super chunky and really helps keep you alive. And the next perk we take here is Hone Reactions. When your health is less than 50%, your perfect dodge window is doubled. This perk has a ton of synergy with the build we're running here because, first of all, you'll be able to trigger your Agile Strike perk on the Power Gladius significantly more here because this is only triggered on a perfect dodge. And on top of that, you'll be triggering Thrill of the Fight here significantly more as well because you'll be getting a ton more perfect dodges on top of your parries. And this perk is one of the only perks in the game that can be reapplied over and over. You don't have to wait for like the 5 seconds to be up. And what I mean by that is basically if you trigger this perk and you do anything else again with a perfect dodge or parry, it will just re-trigger. You don't have to wait for the 5 seconds to go up. And the next perk we take after this is Inner Fire. All squad members can restore ability charge by 15% by performing finishers on Majora's level or higher enemies. This perk is incredible. I actually think this one is better than Unmasked Zeal is, at least outside of Siege mode. And this perk really enables banners, Iron Halo, Auspex, and it also is kind of incorrect in its description. It is not simply finishers that will trigger this perk, it is any kill on Majora's whatsoever, so it's even better than it sounds. It also has a great synergy with our build here, because you really don't want to take any healing perks here when you have hone reactions, because you'll just get barely any value out of this. You'll constantly overheal the 50%, so having rapid health as your main healing source is just better in my opinion. Now the next perk we have here is Restless Fortitude. After a diving kick, you take 40% less range damage for 10 seconds. This perk is very good for damage reduction. If you combine this perk here with the perk over here, Thrill of the Fight and Conviction, you can get an 85% damage reduction versus range attacks to your HP. Very strong option here and makes you very tanky, so you really don't care about missing out on healing perks at all with all these perks together. Next perk we take here is Zone of Impact. Before you finish with the Grapple Launcher, deals damage to nearby enemies. This perk is simply god tier. The amount of damage Zone of Impact does off of a grapnel finisher is just stupid. It has an amazing synergy here with the Tactical Prowess signature perk. Grapnel Launcher can activate a finisher not only on incapacitated enemies, but also on those who have less than 33% health, except Terminus level, and performing a finisher with the Grapnel Launcher restores its charge. This perk is incredible. Basically, you have to deal less damage to any Extremis enemy you're fighting, or any Majoras for that matter. You're going to save a ton of ammo off this perk, and also deal significant AoE damage with the Tactical Prowess, or excuse me, the Zone of Impact perk. But I do want to mention here that the perk Restless Fortitude will only trigger off of a normal grapnel, not a grapnel finisher. So you do want to use this versus like to get in and stuff like that, rather than just using it to execute, because you won't get anything out of Restless Fortitude otherwise. But either way, Tactical Prowess and Zone of Impact are totally worth taking. Now, for the Prestige perk here, I do take Battlefield Awareness. If a target is within 8 meters, you deal 10% more range damage. We are using a Melta rifle, and you are a Vanguard, who is a melee class, so this is very valuable to us. Next perk I take is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. This just makes your health damage reduction more valuable, so really strong perk here as well. Then we take the two best perks here, Launch Restoration and Restoration. Using the Grapnel Launcher restores an armor segment. This is a super powerful perk. Getting armor back in this game is incredible, and you'll also get more out of this because we have Inner Fire, so you get way more grapnels back, and you also get even more grapnels back off things like Tactical Prowess, which does trigger this perk as well, so great stuff here. And the final perk I take is Restoration. Killing 7 enemies in a rapid succession restores an armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is very strong. It's pretty much on multiple classes in the game. Actually, I think it's only on this class and the class over here, Heavy, but either way, Restoration is a top tier perk. Really helps out a ton, and armor restores are super meta. But that's pretty much all there is to this build. You know, Hone Reactions is kind of a slept on perk. I don't think this is very good with healing perks, but on this build, very strong interactions, and having an assault dodge window is super helpful for sure. Now, if you're not using this, or you're not using the Inner Fire perk, I would definitely take Effective Execution instead, but either way, this one's very strong, and you can't really go wrong on this tree, because even Retribution is not like horrific. That's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. Hopefully this guide helped. If you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, take it easy. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a Xenophase Blade Power Sword build for the Bulwark class in patch 10.2 of Space Marine 2. This is one of the best heroic weapons in the game. The perk effect down here, Ancient Technology, says Power Rake waves are wider and deal 20% more damage, and Power Rake is already the strongest attack on the Power Sword anyways, so this is honestly one of the best buffs you could possibly have. Now, unfortunately, this weapon is locked to a balanced parry window, which does kind of suck, and I do think the block version is slightly better, but I think it's like the second best power sword in the game, and definitely better than the other balanced option, and this one's honestly pretty fun to use. Now, for the perk tree, I do take Armored Strength. If you have armor remaining, melee damage increases by 10%. On the Bulwark class, it is very easy to keep your armor up with perks like Focus Restoration and the perk down here, Armor Reinforcement, if you decide to take it, so having a full 10% damage buff up most of the game is very easy for us. Next perk here is Master of Offense. After switching sword combat style, you deal 20% more melee damage for 5 seconds. Cooldown is 10 seconds. Now, usually when you switch your sword combat style in this game is with a lunge, and you'll be lunging into an enemy and immediately go into Power Rake, and you'll be getting that 20% damage buff off of this because it does stay up long enough. It's a pretty good value here. I will say though, if you want to pick up the perk down here instead of Master of Defense, after switching sword combat style, you take 20% less range damage for 5 seconds instead of like melee damage increase. This is also a very strong perk because range damage reduction in this game does affect your armor, not just your HP, and once again, Usually when you switch your combat style, you'll be going into a lunge, and you'll be going like into a Terminator or something, and you'll get that full 20% range damage reduction, like River Marines and such. So pretty good for that. Now we do pick up a 10% flat melee damage buff from these two perks here, move past the perk here Tranquility, which really doesn't do a ton for us, and then pick up another flat 10% melee damage buff with Melee Onslaught, move through here into Hard Target. While performing a light combo, you take 15% less range damage, and then I pick up the most important perk here, Cutting Edge. Power Rake deals 50% more melee damage. Once again, Power Rake is the strongest attack on the Power Sword, and 50% more melee damage on this is substantial. By far the best perk in this tree, in my opinion, for like Power Rake damage anyways, especially if you compare it to things like Reeling Blow that just do very little for you and have an actual cooldown. This one's up all the time and is enormous, so amazing perk here for sure. And the final perks I grab are things like Extremis Slayer, Majora's Slayer, and Terminus Slayer. I do skip over Minora's Slayer because we really don't need this on the Power Sword here, because this thing already mops Minora's quite easily, and the final perk I pick up instead is Power Restoration, for 100% more contested health recovery in Power Style, though if you want to take the Speed Restoration instead, you definitely can, because both of these are pretty good. And that's pretty much all there is for the primary weapon selection here. Now, as far as the Plasma Pistol goes for our secondary, Rate of Fire Plasma is just the best secondary in the game currently. You could also take a Heroic Bolt Pistol here, but I do still think this one is better, just because the CHP recovery, the charge rate are all like stupidly high, on top of great damage and great stagger versus Chaos, and you also don't need to benefit from a headshot multiplier at all. And currently the Chaos faction especially is kind of hard to hit the heads of some of the enemies, but I think this one is just pretty damn good. Now for the perk tree, I would just build all ammo economy, because the only thing holding this weapon back is the ammo economy, so I would just take all the ammo perks, grab the Divine Might perk down here, and pick up the extra ammo reserve option here as well. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary selection. Now for the Bulwark perk tree, I do pick up Forward Momentum first. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunder Hammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 30% for 10 seconds. This is a very easy perk to trigger in patch 10.0 thanks to the new Shield Rush, on top of this perk over here for a 15% extra damage buff on top of no knockback. And really, this just makes our Power Rakes and Power Sword hit harder, and that's kind of what I want to do on this build. But I will say, things like Intimidating Aura and Conviction are also incredible, and this perk is probably the best in this tree period if you're going for like a full meta build. Next perk here is Scramble Targeting. If you're surrounded by 5 or more enemies, you take 25% less damage from range attacks. Range damage reduction in this game is very strong, and this is by far the best perk in this tree, especially in patch 10.0 where there are just so many Minoras around all the time. Being surrounded by 5 or more enemies happens all the time in Space Marine 2. This one is active when you need it the most pretty often. Now, next perk here would be Steel Within. When your health is less than 50%, you take 30% less health damage. Having at least one health damage reduction perk on the Bulwark class here, like Conviction or this one, is very strong for your survivability here, because otherwise your tankiness is lacking a little bit, even though you do have a 30% increased starting HP. But really, any health damage reduction on top of this starting perk will just make you incredibly tanky and just insanely hard to kill, even at low HP. So I would pick up either this one or the one over here. Now the next perk we take here for the team perk section is Focus Restoration. Every 30 seconds, all squad members automatically restore 1 armor segment. Having some form of drip-fed armor restore in this game is very strong. It really helps you trigger effects like Conviction on any class, helps with survivability of classes like Tactical that are quite squishy on their own. It also helps you enable perks like we talked about before with Armored Strength, so pretty good for us here. I think this is the overall best team perk for Bulwark currently, though Advanced Conditioning and even Effective Formation are also pretty good, so it is up to you. Now next perk here in the gear perk tree is Purity of Purpose. The banner deals damage over time to enemies with its area of effect. I will be taking Glorious Shield as well, and this one simply turns your banner into a shock grenade. You will wipe out Minoras, do significant damage to Majoris, Extremis, and even Terminus, and to be honest, these other two perks aren't very good. Like, this one's kind of redundant because your Shield Rush already guaranteed staggers even in Rage Guys and Extremis, and really this just makes your banner way more valuable, so super strong perk here. Now next perk I take is Glorious Shield. All squad members of the banner's area effect take 20% less damage, and the banner lasts 20% longer. This just makes your banner better and lasts longer, on top of giving you more value out of your Purity of Purpose. Now obviously the perk up here, Concussive Force, and the perk down here, Invigorating Icon, are better, but first off, Concussive Force kind of takes away the class identity for a lot of your builds in this game currently. Shield Bash and Shield Rush are so damn strong in this build of the game that basically you don't even need your primary weapon if you take this perk, and that kind of takes away the build identity of like a Power Sword build in the first place, which is why I do prefer to take this perk instead, because it's just more fun. Because if I'm playing a Power Sword, I want to use my Power Sword and not just Shield Bash a guy in the face the entire game, so that's why I picked up this one instead, and I think this perk's a little overpowered. Next perk here is Merciless Resolve. After a Shield Bash, Shield Rush, or Thunderhammer Pommel Smash, melee damage increases by 15%, and you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This is just an amazing perk effect in general, and super easy to pull off with a Shield Rush in this patch, and these two perks will trigger simultaneously for a 45% increased melee damage buff, which is pretty damn strong, so I'd like to pick this one up. And also enabling no knockback off a Shield Bash off cooldown is just super easy, which is why we no longer take perks down here like Armor Advance, because they're kind of redundant with how good Shield Rush is this patch. And instead I take Defensive Mastery here, which is after a perfectly timed parry or block, you instantly incapacitate a Majoris or Extremis level enemy. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk isn't like God tier or anything, but it is really fun to use at times and can save your life versus like a Lictor or Terminator if you get like the cooldown off on it. So pretty good for that, though I will say if you want to take emergency countermeasures instead, you definitely can. These are both pretty decent, but that's up to you. And even if you want to take this one for like added redundancy, you can do that too, because the signature perks for Bulwark are actually pretty strong. Now for the prestige perks, I do skip over Auxiliary Reload for operations. I really don't think you need this perk in a team at all, because really you aren't running out of ammo that much if you're playing with a group. And I think perks like Resilience actually give you more for your like class benefit here, because having stims be better in this game is just more value from a pickup, and pickup economy is one of the things you have to worry about in Space Marine 2 in general, so pretty strong option here. Next perk here, Overcharge. Charge attack damage increases by 20%. Now, unlike the Assault's Overcharge perk, this one does buff your power rake damage. It also works multiplicatively with your Shield Rush damage. So super valuable on Bulwark. Pretty much always pick this perk up. It's kind of hilarious how much better this one is than the Assault's perk over here with Overcharge, because this one's broken. It only works on like the Thunderhammer right now, and this one works on pretty much every heavy attack in the game, which is just kind of stupid, but that's just the way it is. Next perk here is Powerful Shot. Range damage increases by 20%. Super boring effect, because 20% range damage increases are just kind of lame, but also very strong. Final perk I take here is Masterful Defense. Ability charge restored by 1% for every blocked range attack. This perk and Overcharge are the two best perks in this tree by far. CDR in this game is incredible. Getting full banners back basically off a single Soul Reaper Cannon Terminator is insane. You'll get so many more banners versus the Chaos faction, and even versus Tyranids, this one still functions pretty well versus like the Tyranid Devourers, so pretty strong perk. Pretty incredible effect, and in general in Horde shooters, CDR is just top tier, and this one is no different. And that's why we pick this on the Prestige perk tree, and these two perks here aren't like super good. Anyways, guys, that's pretty much all there is for this build. The Xenophase Blade is a super fun weapon, super cool looking, really in lore with like the Deathwatch aesthetic and all that, and pretty fun to use in general. And hopefully this build guide helped, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, take it easy. Bye. Hey guys, first regardsman here, and I'll be talking about a heroic heavy plasma incinerator build for the heavy class in patch 10.0 Space Marine 2. The heroic heavy plasma has a unique perk effect called Plasma Hail, and heavy stance get an increased fire rate instead of charge shots. Now this weapon cannot charge up whatsoever, not even outside of heavy stance, unlike the normal relic tier versions, and I will be honest, this one I think is a little worse than the relic tier versions, only because charge shot is more ammo efficient than this gun is. This gun will positively chew through your ammo, even though the magazine capacity is the same as the relic tier. I've used this one quite a bit, especially in true solo. You will just run out of ammo all the time, and the AoE capabilities and stagger are simply not quite at the relic tier, but it's still a great single target weapon for bosses and stuff like that, and has amazing CHP regen. Now for the perks I select on this, I do take Common Cooling first. Common shots generate 10% less heat. This weapon is all common shots, so this is pretty good for us. Then I move over here into the perk Rapid Cooling. After killing 7 enemies in rapid succession, this weapon does not heat for 10 seconds. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This perk is amazing for this weapon in particular, because having no overheat on a weapon that fires this fast can help out a ton. Great perk for sure. Then I move here into the perk Heavy Velocity. It does absolutely nothing for us. And then I move over here into the perk Plasma Collection, because once again, this weapon needs all the ammo it can get. Then we pick up Efficient Charge, which once again does nothing for us. It's kind of like the downside of this weapon, is that any heavy stance like Charge Shot perk, it doesn't do anything for this weapon. Kind of sucks, but it's just the way it is. Next perk I take is Adamant Restoration. When your health drops below 30%, your ammo reserve is restored by 25% of the maximum capacity. Cannot exceed maximum ammo capacity. Cooldown is 30 seconds. Now this perk is great when you stack it with the perk over here Fortitude for a health increase of 30%. It will help you set that low HP value and trigger this over and over every 30 seconds. Very easy to survive on heavy with this perk, so super valuable for sure. Next perk here is Heavy Fire. This one does help us a tiny bit. Then I move up here into Supercharged Shot, which does nothing. Then I pick up the most important perk here, Heavy Immunity. While on heavy stance, you do not lose control from heavy hits. This perk is pretty much mandatory. If you aren't taking this perk, I would definitely take Strategic Stand for the no knockback effect, because not having no knockback on pretty much any heavy weapon is pretty brutal. Getting knocked around by sword warriors or the new chaos spawn can just outright kill you at times, so pretty much always grab this if you can. Next perk here is Retaliation. After a perfectly timed dodge, you deal 25% more damage for 10 seconds. This is a great perk for more damage. 25% more damage is super chunky, and 10 seconds is a very long uptime. And the final perk I grab, and the only perk I can grab, is Charge Cooling, which does nothing. That's just the way it is. That's pretty much all there is for the weapon perk build here. Now for the secondary weapon here, I do take the magazine capacity version of the Inferno pistol. This weapon is very ammo efficient and does kind of lack range, but it does make up for that with guaranteed stagger and some pretty decent gunstrike AoE. I think the stocks on this weapon have gone up quite a bit, especially the spawn of Chaos Spawn, because Chaos Spawn are now pretty dangerous, and this will stagger them and helps out a ton, and having a pretty ammo-efficient sidearm can help you in general. Now for the perk tree, I just go down the bottom tree here for perpetual range, moving over here to the perk Brace Reload, then I move down the line to things like Increased Capacity and the perk here Adamant Restoration, which is the only time you can ever find this perk on a secondary weapon in the entire game. And the final perks I pick up are Extra Shot and Trick Shot, which does help you get armor back versus cultists and stuff like that, or the Hormigons, which can definitely help out at times. That's pretty much all there is for the secondary on the Inferno pistol, though I will say if you want to play with the Plasma pistol, I would take the Rate of Fire variant once again, because the charge shot rate is kind of absurd and the CHP recovery is amazing, even though the CHP recovery on this weapon is by no means bad. And for the perk tree, I would just go down the top tree for ammo economy and things like that, and also pick up perks like Divine Might for a 10% damage buff, on top of things like Perpetual Velocity, because charging even faster is amazing, and the ammo economy is like the only thing holding this weapon back. And that's pretty much all there is for the secondary weapon selection. Now for the perk tree, I do pick up Restoration first, killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores an armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. This is like the only perk that matters in this first row for this build anyway, so kind of a no-brainer. Next perk here is Fortitude. Health increases by 30%. This perk makes you damn near as tanky as a Bulwark at base level, basically. If you pick up Conviction on top of this, you are literally as tanky as a Bulwark that only builds into like Armor Reinforcement and Conviction. So really strong perk options for sure, and Heavy is the second tankiest class in this game with this combo. Next perk here is Overwhelming Power. When Iron Halo is active, all squad members within 10 meters deal 10% more range damage. This is just a free range damage buff, though I will say if you want to like up your secondary damage, you could take Versatility here. It's also a great perk, especially with the Plasma Pistol, but I just prefer this one on this build. Next perk here is Encompassing Aegis. All squad members take 25% less damage from range attacks. This perk is incredible. A flat 25% range damage reduction in this game also affects armor and also grants damage reduction to classes like Tactical that usually have none whatsoever. It's just very strong for any team comp. Super godly perk and far better than these two. Next perk here is Consecutive Execution. Killing 7 enemies in rapid succession restores equipment charge. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is also amazing. Anything that breaks the pickup economy of this game is pretty top tier, and getting 90-second Melta bombs, frag grenades, shock grenades, and cracks will simply save your life in a lot of occasions, and it's just a top tier perk for sure. And also, if you do have like a tactical secure stockpile, you could alternatively go for the perk over here for Adamant Will. Take 20% less health damage for 10 seconds after Iron Halo deactivates. This is also very good, especially the next perk, Field Adjustment, but I would go for Consecutive Execution in a solo or like a non-tac game. Now the next perk here is Field Adjustment, like I mentioned before. Iron Halo recharges 20% faster, but its durability is reduced by 25%. This perk is incredible. Getting your Iron Halo back faster definitely makes up for the lack of durability, and usually with Iron Halo, you're just like popping it for a little bit to like shoot back at a guy and then you turn it off again. This one just helps you do that more often, so great perk for sure. And then the final perk here in the gear perk tree is Brute Force. When Iron Halo is in cooldown, range damage increases by 15%. This is just a free range damage buff for something you do all the time, which is turning off your Iron Halo. And the final perk I take in the signature perk tree here is Offensive Capability. When active, Iron Halo deals damage over time to all enemies within 5 meters. This perk is very strong. Wipes out Bramble, wipes out Cultists, wipes out Spore Mines. Also can help you pick up executes on things like Lictors and stuff like that if you're at like 5% HP left. Really strong for sure, though if you want to pick up Conversion Field for CDR reduction, especially if you have like a Bulwark on your team that has a banner they need really badly, this is also amazing. That is up to you. Now for the Prestige perks, I would take Reverberating Impact first. Stomp area of effect radius increases by 50%. The best part about the Stomp is the radius to begin with, and wiping out more Spore Mines, more Bramble, more Cultists, more Hormigons, and knocking them all around can help you way more than things like straight damage. And also, perks like Duelist, I do want to mention, this does not affect the startup frame of your parry on the heavy whatsoever. So some people would take this over Reverberating Impact at times, but this perk only affects the latter end of your active parry window, because the way that heavy works is that your balanced parry window has a 10 frame negative startup where you cannot perfect parry whatsoever, and this perk only affects the active frame window after that. So it doesn't actually help you with like the most important part, which is kind of unfortunate. So the only time I would take this is if you're like doing the surgical strike stratagem or something like that. Next perk I take here is Auxiliary Reload. Melee kills of Extremis level or higher enemies restore your primary weapon's ammo by 1 magazine. This is mandatory on this gun in particular as far as I'm concerned, because this gun's ammo economy is god-awful. This is like the only way to get your ammo back at times that will save your life, so definitely pick this up. Next perk here is Conviction. When your armor is fully depleted, you take 25% less health damage for 10 seconds. This is a god tier perk on whatever class you can find it on. 25% less health damage for 10 seconds is a super powerful effect, and armor breaking happens all the time in this game, and armor being drip fed to you to reactivate this is also incredible, so this one's top tier for sure. And the final perk I take is Indomitable Spirit. While performing a gun strike, you do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and you cannot be knocked back. This perk simply saves your life. There are times where you will have to gun strike to get CHP back, or knock a guy over, or get an execute, and if you don't have this perk, you'll get stunned by like a Chaos Spawn or a Sword Warrior, and this will simply keep you alive in those situations, so pretty much always grab this one as well. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The Heroic Heavy Plasma is super fun. This was the third one I picked up. It's pretty strong. The single target damage is quite good, though it does lack AoE, and I would probably prefer the Relic tier version, but this one in a team especially is great, and oftentimes in operations, ammo isn't like the biggest issue in a group anyways, so if you like this gun, use it all the time. It's a pretty fun one, and hopefully this build guide helped, and if you like content like this, subscribe for more, and as always, take it easy. Hey guys, so I'll be talking about a heavy bolt rifle build using the new Heroic Bolt Pistol for the Tactical class in patch 10.0 Space Marine 2. Now, the heavy bolt rifle did get a buff across the board this patch. The headshot multiplier damage coefficient got up to 1.25 on these variants, and then 1.35 on the scoped variant. It actually performs quite a bit better now than last patch. This thing was underperforming pretty dramatically, and this buff definitely helped. And for the perk tree, I do pick up Headhunter first. Headshots deal 10% more damage, and I move over here into the perk Adamant Hunter. When your health is below 30%, headshots deal 25% more damage. This is a very powerful perk when it actually procs. The 25% damage increase from this feels like it affects the base damage of the weapon, and is very noticeable, but to be honest, being below 30% HP on a tactical with how squishy you are is not the best place to be, but it can definitely save your life when you're there. Next perk here is Fast Reload for a 10% faster reload on the weapon, and the perk after this is Able Reload for an instantaneous reload on using the Auspex. Though to be honest, both these perks aren't like super incredible because this thing's reload speed isn't that bad. Next perk here is Headhunter again, and then I've moved up here into the perk Tactical Precision. Headshots deal 20% more damage, and non-headshot damage decreases by 10%. This perk is amazing. Headshots are pretty much all that matters on the heavy bolt rifle anyways. It's just a free damage buff. Next perk I take after this is Great Might for a 10% buff against Terminus. Really helps versus Neurothropes and Carnifexes and stuff like that. Then I pick up an increased capacity perk for more ammo reserves, because even with Emperor's Vengeance, this can help us retain our ammunition sometimes. And a pretty good perk over here as well is Recoupment. Killing a Majoris level or higher enemy with a headshot with this weapon restores an armor segment. Cooldown is 15 seconds. Now, armor restores in Space Marine 2 are pretty hard to come by, and this one can really help you pick up some extra armor, especially when you're shooting like a sniper or something at range, because we do have a scope on this gun, and occasionally you'll just be shooting all ranged Majoris, and being able to get some armor back to prevent chip damage is very, very powerful. Next perk here is Rapid Health. When your health is below 30%, killing 7 enemies in a rapid succession restores health by 10%. Now, the description on this perk is actually wrong. It goes up to like 35% HP, not just 30%. And this is a very powerful perk in general for this game. And on this gun, it is extra good because basically this is a Minoris Shredder, and getting 7 rapid kills is not hard at all for you. And getting HP regen on a tactical class is a very strong perk choice. Next perk after this is Perpetual Penetration, which is really not that valuable because our piercing is already pretty high, but still helps out a bit. Next perk here, or I should say the final perk, is Divine Might for a flat 10% damage buff. That is pretty much all there is for the Heavy Bolt Rifle perk tree. Now, for the secondary weapon, I do take the brand new Heroic Bolt Pistol. This is a 3-round burst variant of the standard Bolt Pistol. Very high CHP recovery on this, excellent headshot damage, and excellent synergy with perks like Acuity and our Prestige perk tree, which is a 15% consecutive headshot damage bonus that lasts 5 seconds. Very, very strong, and I honestly love this weapon quite a bit. It's a very good option. A lot of people do ask me, however, if the 3-round burst function ups the gun strike damage at all, but I gotta answer, guys, it does not. It'll do nothing for you. And for the secondary weapon here, I do take the new heroic tier bolt pistol. This is a 3-round burst variant of the standard bolt pistol, and I also want to mention that in patch 10.0, they did buff every single variant of the bolt pistol's headshot damage coefficient to now be 1.25, and this one definitely benefited a ton from that and has great synergy with pretty much any headshot perk like Acuity and our prestige perk tree. And overall, this is a pretty top tier choice for the secondary slot. Great CHP recovery, amazing accuracy, and pretty okay ammo economy. The only place like the ammo economy kind of sucks with this gun is like on the assault class, but go figure, assault's ammo is pretty much trash across the board, but on this class it's quite good. Now, if you don't have this gun, I would pick up like the heavy bolt pistol or the plasma pistol. These are still very, very strong options. Rate of fire, obviously top tier, especially with perks like plasma boost, and also I've just built for ammo economy on this one. And for the heavy bolt pistol, I would just pick up like the top tree on the weapon perk tree and the ammo variant, because these are overall the best in my opinion. Now, for the relic tier or heroic tier bolt pistol here, I would just build down the top tree for things like ammo capacity and headshot damage, and make sure to pick up the perk Elite Hunter after killing a Majora's level or higher enemy with a melee weapon. Headshots deal 50% more damage for 10 seconds. This is a very powerful perk. This perk was already good way before this update, but like now with the new headshot multiplier bonuses on top of the damage buff from this one, versus like the fire rate and accuracy of this one, it is a very, very powerful perk, and I honestly love this gun quite a bit just because of this, so pretty much always pick this one up. That's pretty much all there is for the secondary weapon here. Now for my melee weapon, I am using a block chainsword. Now I do think that the block chainsword is the overall best weapon on tactical by far. Now I want to explain why, because first of all, a block has some hidden mechanics a lot of people don't know about. When you obtain an adrenaline surge charge off of a perfect block, you get a 60% range damage reduction for 1.8 seconds, which is very useful because there are often times in Space Marine 2 where you'll be locked down by like a Ravener or something while being shot by a Devourer, and with a block weapon, you can just perfect block, get that 60% range damage reduction, not lose your armor, and then immediately proceed to whack them with your block charges, get an armor back, and do significant damage to them, especially with perks like Battle Focus on the Tactical. And Tactical really benefits from that range damage reduction because this guy has no damage reduction outside of that and weapon perks. So really powerful option for sure, and Battle Focus also allows you to like one combo most Majoras in the game, so really good on him in particular. Now for the weapon perk tree here, I do pick up Perpetual Strength first, moving over into the perk Swift Recovery for 100% more contested health recovery on your heavy attacks. Very useful perk for sure. Then I pick up the 10% melee damage buff from these two perks, and then I grab the perk over here, Reverberating Impact. Stomp area effect radius increases by 50%. Now, usually you don't use your stomp that much on this weapon, but now they nerfed the full throttle skip, or I should say the full throttle skip is a little bugged because Saber is aware of the delay after doing a single shoulder bash. This can definitely help you clear out some Minoris enemies for sure, so pretty strong option. Let's move over here into the perk Combined Onslaught, pick up Heavy Onslaught once again, and then I pick up full throttle here for the combo skip because it is still very useful even after like with the current nerf delay or like bug delay. Then I pick up my Minoris Slayer and grab Extremis Slayer for bonus Extremis damage because this is actually a pretty useful perk on pretty much every variant of the Chainsword ever. And that's pretty much all there is for the block Chainsword perk tree. Now for the tactical perk tree here, I do pick up Crack and Penetrator rounds first. Bolt weapons penetrate one more enemy. Now this perk is not very good, but is the only way to not lose heroic weapon damage on my build here because things like balance distribution will make my secondary deal 10% less damage, which kind of sucks for what I want to do here, and Plasma Boost does basically nothing for me. This is like the best pick, unfortunately. So I will say if you're using a Plasma Pistol, I would just take Plasma Boost because this perk is god tier. Next perk I take after this is Titan Vigor. After a perfect timed parry, block, or dodge, you deal 10% more melee and gun strike damage, do not lose control upon taking heavy hits, and cannot be knocked back for 10 seconds. This perk is god tier. Having no knockback plus damage buffs is incredible. Pretty much always grab it for a meta setup. Next perk I take is Emperor's Vengeance for ammo economy because a heavy bolt rifle, despite having a pretty fat magazine capacity, is kind of ammo hungry at times because it fires a ton of rounds out, so I would take this perk instead. Next perk here is Secure Stockpile. Equipment charge restored by 1 for all squad members. Cooldown is 60 seconds. This perk is busted. It is probably the best perk in the entire game. It gives your entire team Melta bombs to spam. This thing might get nerfed one day. It survived patch 10, and until patch 11, or whenever they decide to like put the ban hammer on this thing, it is just the best pick in the whole game for sure. Though if you want to like max out some range damage, you could take a line aim instead, but this perk is just better. Next perk here is Vital Data. Scanning extremis or terminus level enemy restores Auspex scan charge by 50%. This just makes your Auspex charge come back significantly faster when you need it the most, which is usually versus terminus enemies, so this perk is a top tier pick for sure. Next perk I take here is Precise Calibration for a 75% increased damage to my Auspex scan on top of a 25% reduced radius. The 25% reduced radius really doesn't matter that much because usually you're just boss spamming with this thing, so very good for that. Next perk I take here is Concentrated Fire. Auspex scan zone lasts 60% longer, and enemies marked by Auspex scan take an additional 120% damage, but they lose the mark when they leave the scanned area. These two perks combined buff your team's damage versus bosses so much that it is actually absurd. It is incredible how much damage a Power Fist can do off of an Auspex of these, though I will say if you want to maximize your personal capabilities in combat, I would take Battle Focus, because Battle Focus does let you like one combo Majora's and stuff with the Blockchain Sword. Now, for the signature perk tree, I do take Radiant Impact. A melee finisher additionally deals significant area effect damage in a 10-meter radius. Cooldown is 90 seconds. This perk is God tier. It wipes out Majora's packs, does significant damage to extremis and bosses, and a 90-second cooldown is long, but wiping out whole packs with an AoE is incredible. Pretty much always grab this because Signal Jammer sucks and Marked for Death has way too long of a cooldown. Now for the prestige perks, I do take Acuity first. Each consecutive headshot increases headshot damage by 3% up to 15%, and the bonus lasts 5 seconds without a headshot. Since we have a heavy bolt rifle and a heroic bolt pistol, we benefit a ton from this perk, a very powerful option. Next perk I take is Skilled Supplier. Ammo reserve increases by 15%. This is one of the only perks in the entire game that buffs the secondary ammunition reserves, so really good for our bolt pistol here, and also helps out our primary. Next perk I take is Resilience. Medicae Sims restore 40% more health. Like I mentioned before, the Tactical is a very squishy class, and having more valuable Sims is very good for him. And the final perk I pick up is Fortitude. Health increases by 15%. Pretty boring perk effect, but top tier and saves your life many times. This one can prevent you from getting damage nuked directly, and having a higher HP pool, especially on Tactical, is just mandatory, especially for some of the harder content. And that's pretty much all there is for this build, guys. The heavy bolt rifle buff feels pretty good. Maybe not like a super meta pick, but definitely better than before. And the heroic bolt pistol is pretty top tier, and the Blockchain Sword overperforms as always. And that's pretty much all there is here, guys. If you like content like this, subscribe for more. And as always, thank you for watching. Hopefully this helped. Take it easy. Bye.
Fresh magazine in. Releasing frag grenade. Rearming. Gathering supplies.
Fucking hurt. That was class is so squishy.
Swapping magazine. Exterminated.
We sell Promethium and Promethium
At the
accessory.
first objective, Lieutenant Titus.
Activate the Quartermaster's console and wake the machine spirit. Instructed to load the implosive warhead onto the train and assist it when necessary.
That's true, Iron Warrior. I am from now on banning all cap spam in this chat.
We require a Nova cannon
Effective
explosive
now.
warhead to be loaded on the train.
Or it is disruptive to some people. I will have the local Inquisitor enforce that. Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Fresh magazine in.
I mean, it's going to be auto banned by Nightbot, so might as well ban it now. Before that's even taking effect.
That command is as good as
Auto order getting disbanded. I don't mind, like, you know, a little all caps spam is fine, but like 24/7 all caps spam hurts the eyeballs.
rearming.
Oh, this is freezing. I'm in danger.
You are fertilizer.
This is
Small bombs incoming. Deploying shock grenade. Eliminate the tyranny pile. Changing magazine.
Is the update worth coming back? Definitely.
Reloading.
Assuming you like the game.
Shock grenade. Full spec prime. Swapping magazine. Pathetic tyranny.
Second Marines, welcome to the Imperial Guard. Oh, Second Marines, been here for a long time.
Changing magazine. Disgusting tyranny stuff. Rearming.
Your blade looks good. Looks good, man. Thank you. How is your FOV zoomed out? It's because on PC there's an FOV slider.
Picking
There's
up
no
extra
slider
rounds.
on the FOV slider on the console outpost.
Another Xenos fire.
Resident's pretty good at clearing out hordes, and the damage increase in the headshots does help a little bit with Majoris, which is kind of a struggle for it anyways. I feel like it could use a little bit more of a buff maybe, but overall,
I have this one, brothers.
I'm on PC. Am I really that blind? Well, if you're on PC, you just go to settings, camera, change it here. They added that a while back. See, like you checked once and it wasn't there, and you never looked again. I can't blame you.
We broke the Xenos onslaught.
Even in debt, I'm still sure.
Attention. Operator required.
A3.
Register shipment with supply train at the transit console.
A little coordination is all that is needed. Reloading. Shock grenade out. Shock grenade, loose. Subterranean.
That's a really good time for the.
Slow and front. Fortify your sight. Fresh magazine in. Ravener down. Changing magazine. Commencing force phase down. Stench is sick, but the beast is dead. Fresh magazine in.
Finally. Heavy bolt rifle, kind of a good
Cover
choice
these
here.
I work. Fresh munitions. Shock grenade. All specs ready to scan. Swapping magazine. Throwing shock grenade.
Dispatch payload to the supply.
Lictor. My fiend. Target seeks to mobilize reinforcements. Eliminated. Our foe will not test us with shoulders. We made the lictor disappear. For good. Subterranean alien pest. Target is rallying reserve forces. Halted. Brace yourself, brothers. More are incoming. Pathetic tyranny of bomb. Shock grenade out. Four specs deep scan ready. Reloading.
That's so many Hormiguns. God damn.
We have the warhead on the move, Lieutenant.
Good. Escort the payload to the train.
According to facility schematics, there is a transport lift that
Even
leads
Street are
to the
also
platform.
best friends. That's he's using denial about it. Hold on. This is friendship robbery. As a friend burglar. Did they already add the power racks? They sure did. They sure did.
You are fertilizer now, Xenos. Swapping magazine.
Keep that in case of tragedy.
magazine in. Grin through the grit, brothers. Exterminating.
I'll zoom up. Do that for the camera.
Shock grenade. Lictor on off. The storm has dissipated. No more surprises from this lictor. This squall is as harmful as a summer breeze. Rearming. Zoanthrope, beware its mind bend. All specs ready to scan. Xenophase, take it down. Changing magazine. The storm has dissipated. Throwing shock grenade. Disgusting tyrannid scum. Xenophase are outmatched by Codex Tank. Prepare for low visibility.
I am here, it's not too bad. I also left the armor boost back there just in case.
You are fertilizer now, Xenos. All specs trying. The storm has dissipated. Shock grenade out! Rearming. The lictor has us in its sights. The lights will guide us, brothers. This lictor stalks the all specs ready to scan. All specs engaged. Servitude of instrumental. Storm has dissipated. blade loose. The hive mind reels from the Solon Grove's death. Auspex deep scan ready. Exterminate
Right, well.
it.
That didn't actually go bad at all.
Reloading. This squall is as harmful as a
The
summer
weakest
breeze.
blood angel. Exactly. The gene seed of Sanguinius is strong. We say.
The hive mind loathes our fate. This way, brothers. The storm has dissipated. Changing magazine. Pathetic tyranny abomination. Lights will guide us, brothers. Fresh magazine.
No, it's kind of funny. The heavy bolt rifle has been putting in serious work against these Mormogons for me this game. It's like its whole function, really. But I'm kind of shocked at
Stay close and sharp.
how useful it's turned out to be. Very my Norse heavy seed here, sure. Let's
We shall launch
check
this terminus'
ammo box. I like that.
final train.
Did you try to solo last week's hard stratagem? Yeah, it only took like one try. Not a very hard stratagem. The weekly hard wasn't that hard at all with the Bulwark Fizz build.
Obstruction detected. Removal is required to commence.
Acknowledged and ready. We are back on the move.
This.
Another Xenos bioform eliminated.
Once we have a relic, I'll feel a lot better. If we were ever granted such a thing. It looks like we won't be. This weekly is pretty easy.
Reloading. Disgusting tyrannid scum. Shock grenade. Changing magazine.
I don't know if I have the cleaving fire on this one right now, I don't remember, but we'll see. I mean, considering it doesn't look like it's doing anything, so probably not.
Sneaky high feet. Kill that foe lest it sullen hate. Young beast, take it down. Stealthy Xenos vampire has not been long. Changing magazine. specs primed. Shock grenade out. Silence that burning squid. More its foul breath. You are fertilizer now, Xenos. Rearming. Toxins in bloodstream.
Army is perfect. So we might have one more boss spawn here. We'll see how that goes. All in all, though, I do enjoy this build.
Minotaurable weapons transfer 3639 loading complete. Manifest updated.
Yeah, run out of that.
Changing magazine.
There we go.
Throwing shock grenade. Reloading.
That there.
War gear acquired.
I guess we'll keep
That
it
one
open.
calls for reinforcements. Exterminate. Fresh magazine in.
It's nice to like look in the general direction of my Noras here and just wipe them from the map every time, casually.
All specs tagged as zoanthrope. Target seeks to mobilize reinforcements. Eliminate. You are fertilizer now, Xenos. Arming Melta bomb. Zoanthrope psychic powers will be sighted. All specs ready to scan. All specs engaged. Stand resolute against the Xenos swarm.
Alright, what's going on next here? What's coming? Ah, fodder. Could leave, but worse than that.
Reloading. Setting thermal
I guess the
charge.
Combi being alive.
All specs deep
That would
scan
help.
ready.
Why are there so many damn Minoras here? This. Not a great spot for that anyway, so. Where's the fun in that, he says? The fun is being alive. Absolutely stupid amount of Minoras there, though.
Warhead is loaded, Lieutenant.
Good. Deploy it.
For Ultramar!
Error. Engine power depleted. Initiating charging cycle. Departmental regulatory penalties will be assessed.
A minor setback. Let us reevaluate our strategy.
Talassa, I have multiple swarms moving to your location. You have their attention. Deal with them swiftly. Do not get another shot at this.
others. It occurs to me the Xenos are unaware they must catch a train. We must keep the train out of their putrid. Tyranids on the tracks! Launch train down! Changing night.
There's probably gonna be another boss here pretty soon. Does the burst on the secondary's gun strike do more damage? No. Just a visual. Wow, whenever they're on like weird elevations, I always pain in the ass.
Link your armor to the Mechanicus device. You will need to keep close proximity to the charging station until the reset is complete.
Oh, why are there so many? Get out of here.
Precisely. We can fix the charging station.
I missed my shock nades already. I actually don't have time to grab the ammo caster. There's too damn many of these guys. Look at this. What a cluster.
If we coordinate precisely, we can fix the charging station and defend the train simultaneously. coordinate precisely, we can fix the charging station and defend the train simultaneously.
Actually endless from these guys. I have no time to actually do this objective. Why are there so many fucking Hormigons? Jesus. There's a sim over there that I can grab if I really need to. Okay, so we didn't get another boss, we just had 1,000 Minors, okay. That's harder there than having warriors.
Successful.
How many enemies was that, I wonder? Where did I kill?
Detonation in 5. Brace for shockwave.
The Hive might have figured out how to auto-queue building Hormigons and now has endless waves of them, that's true. The Hive mind macroed them. $55,000, 1,400 enemies, most of which were Hormigons, 21 specials. That was pretty hard. If we had one extra boss spawn, that would have been pretty difficult. We didn't have a Guardian Relic, but still a tough mission for sure.